Everyone thinks they know Taurus. Solid as a mountain, unshakable, the reliable, calm as a rock friend who will be there through thick and thin. The one sign you can always count on. But what happens when you're the one who hurts them? What happens when the rock finally cracks? The transformation is not just surprising, it's shocking. The calm disappears, the reliability wavers, and a side emerges that you never knew existed. Today, I'm giving you the key, the 21 signs that prove a Taurus is deeply, emotionally wounded. From the subtle shifts to the stunning transformations. And trust me, one of these signs reveals the secret pain they hide from absolutely everyone. And it will change how you see them forever. How do I know this? My name is Anya Sage, and as a psychological astrologer, I don't just look at sun signs. I decode the hidden emotional architecture behind them. And Taurus has one of the most misunderstood blueprints of all. So, what's the first red flag that you've crossed a line? It's not a fight, it's not a confrontation. It's the silence. When a Taurus is hurt, their first primary instinct is not to lash out, but to pull away to protect. Their entire system goes into a defensive lockdown, and the first thing to be sacrificed is connection. This is where we see the first cluster of signs. This is the construction of the Great Wall of Taurus. First, and most obviously, they become more distant. This isn't a subtle shift, it's a palpable change in atmospheric pressure. Texts that used to get instant replies now sit on read for hours, then days. Phone calls go straight to voicemail. The warmth you took for granted is replaced by a polite, impenetrable coldness. They are physically present, but emotionally, they have already left the room. And with that distance comes an absolute deafening silence. This is sign number 19. A happy Taurus is a sensual, engaged being. They hum, they talk about their day, they share their thoughts. A hurt Taurus stops. The conversation becomes clipped. One-word answers become the norm. You'll ask them what's wrong, and they'll say nothing, but the word will hang in the air with the weight of a 10-ton stone. Their silence isn't empty, it's full of everything they can't bring themselves to say. Next, you'll notice a profound loss of interest in, well, everything. That hobby they were obsessed with, it's collecting dust. Their favorite meal? They'll just pick at it. The show they never missed? They don't care what happens next. This is sign number 20. It's as if the emotional injury has severed the wires that connect them to joy and pleasure. Their inner world, usually rich with sensation and comfort, becomes a gray, barren landscape. Seeing this is one of the most heartbreaking signs, because you're witnessing their spirit quite literally dimming. This retreat culminates in them withdrawing from their social circle. This is sign number 5. A Taurus who feels secure is deeply social in their own way. They love their people, but when hurt, they see vulnerability as a weakness they cannot afford to show. So they cancel plans. They make excuses. They isolate themselves, not because they don't want to see you, but because they can't bear for you to see them in a state of pain. They are retreating to lick their wounds in private. It's like a turtle pulling its head and limbs into its shell. The world, which once felt like a garden of delights, suddenly feels like a battlefield. Every interaction is a potential landmine. Every question, a potential attack. The shell, that fortress of silence and solitude, becomes the only place they feel safe. It is a slow, deliberate, and deeply instinctual act of self-preservation. And from inside that shell, they wait. Not for an apology necessarily, but for the feeling of danger to pass. Does this sound familiar? If you've ever seen a Taurus go into complete lockdown mode, drop a bull in the comments. I'm curious how many of you have witnessed this firsthand. A Taurus cannot stay silent forever. They are an earth sign, a fixed sign. the pressure has to go somewhere. And when that pressure builds, and the walls of their fortress finally start to crack, what comes out isn't tears, it's fire. This is the second, more shocking phase. The bull, which has been quietly suffering, now decides to show its horns. And it begins with sudden, uncharacteristic bursts of anger. This is sign number 17. Taurus is legendary for its patience. They can endure almost anything, but when their emotional reserves are depleted by a deep hurt, that patience evaporates. Suddenly, the smallest thing will set them off. Spilling a glass of water, a misplaced comment, traffic, anything can become the trigger for an intense flash of irritation or fury. It's so shocking because it feels completely out of proportion, but you're not seeing a reaction to the spilled water. You're seeing the overflow of a pain they've been holding in for weeks. When they're not angry, they're armed with sarcasm and cynicism. This is sign number 7. A hurt Taurus uses biting humor as both a shield and a sword. It's a way to keep you at an emotional distance while still landing a blow. Instead of saying, "You hurt my feelings," they'll say something cynical like, "Oh, of course. Why would I expect anything different?" It's a bitter, passive-aggressive way of expressing their disappointment without ever admitting they were vulnerable enough to be disappointed in the first place. Then comes the mask of indifference, sign number 18. This one is brutal. They will act as though they do not care at all. They will look at you with cold, flat eyes and speak in a monotone that says, "This conversation is boring me." They do this to rob you of the power to hurt them again. Their logic is simple and devastating. If I pretend I don't care about you, then what you did doesn't matter, and therefore it can't hurt me. Of course, the reality is the exact opposite. They are acting this way precisely because they care so much it has become unbearable. And God forbid you try to break through these defenses. Any attempt to get close, to ask what's wrong, to offer comfort, will be met with extreme defensiveness. This is sign number 13. They will question your motives. They will twist your words. They will assume you are trying to manipulate them or trick them into admitting their pain. Imagine this. You finally get a moment with them after days of silence. You look at them, your heart aching, and you ask, gently, "Are you okay?" Instead of an answer, you get a short, cold, sarcastic laugh. They look right through you and say, "Never been better." Then they turn away, leaving you standing in the cold, feeling like you've done something terribly wrong just by caring. That is a hurt Taurus building a fortress of indifference, brick by painful brick. They'll build walls of silence. They'll sharpen their words into weapons. They will pretend they are made of ice. But here's the sign I promised you. The one that unlocks the entire puzzle. The one that reveals their deepest, most hidden pain. The secret they are protecting with all this fury and all this silence. It's sign number 2. When a Taurus is truly hurt, they become guilt-ridden. This is the twist in the story. This is the secret pain. While they are pushing you away, acting cold and exploding with anger, on the inside, a devastating trial is taking place, and they are both the judge and the accused. They will replay the situation in their minds 1,000 times, not to blame you, but to blame themselves. What did I do wrong? How could I have been so stupid to trust them? I should have known better. They question their own judgment, their own worth, their own actions. The hurt you caused them gets twisted and internalized until it becomes a story about their own failure. They feel guilty for getting hurt. They feel guilty for being angry. They feel guilty for not being the unshakable rock everyone expects them to be. This is the demon they are wrestling with in their silent fortress. It's a vortex of self-doubt and self-recrimination. The outer anger is a defense mechanism. The inner guilt is the real wound. And this leads to the only sign that feels like a true betrayal of their nature. Sign number 1, breaking promises or commitments. Taurus is the sign of their word. Dependability is their code of honor. But when they are shattered by a profound hurt, especially a betrayal of trust, the very foundation of that code cracks. They might cancel a long-standing plan, fail to deliver on a promise, or back out of a commitment. This is not done to be malicious. It is a devastating symptom of their inner chaos. It is a sign that they feel the fundamental contract of trust has been voided. If the trust they gave was broken, their own promises can feel meaningless. It's a tragic expression of the belief that the world is no longer a reliable place, and so they no longer have to be reliable within it. So let's put it all together. To recap the pattern, a hurt Taurus first withdraws into a silent fortress. If the pain is too great to be contained, their behavior transforms, becoming uncharacteristically angry, sarcastic, and defensive. And all the while, they are secretly battling intense feelings of internal pain and guilt, often blaming themselves for the entire situation. And there are still other, smaller signs we haven't even covered. They will often seek comfort in the material world, turning to food or shopping to fill the emotional void. That's sign number 9. They might bury themselves completely in their work, using long hours as a way to avoid feeling anything at all, which is sign number 8. And in some cases, especially if the wound is deep, they may even seek subtle, indirect revenge. Sign number 3. Not a dramatic confrontation, but something small and karmic, designed to make you feel just a fraction of the instability they are feeling. But the ultimate takeaway is this: none of it, not the silence, not the anger, not the indifference, is truly about you. It's about them. It's about a deep, primal, and desperate need to protect their heart, which, for all their outward strength, is one of the most tender and vulnerable in the entire zodiac. Understanding these signs is your key. It's the key to knowing when to give them space and when to, so make sure you save it or share it with a friend who needs to see it.